Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Congressman Tom Rooney, here to give you an update as to what happened this week in Congress. I want to first and foremost take a moment to acknowledge the horrific events that unfolded in the early hours of Sunday morning in Orlando, Florida. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the family and friends who lost loved ones in this tragedy. To all that were injured, we're all pulling for you that you make a fast and full recovery. While the FBI is still investigating this, the deadliest mass shooting in United States history, we do know that this was an act of radical Islamic terrorism. Nothing scares me more than the thought of an American-born United States citizen growing up in this country, but becoming radicalized and then carrying out an act of terror like this one. That's what happened right here in our backyard last weekend. These mass killings of innocent people cannot be stopped by half measures. Terror groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda cannot be reasoned with or moderated, and coexistence with them is not possible. The only way to guarantee our security is to eliminate their entire organization and expel them from their safe havens in which they operate. At home, supporting our law enforcement and intelligence communities is, in my opinion, preeminent in stopping homegrown terrorism. At the same time, though, we must ensure people like Omar Mateen do not slip through the cracks. Tolerating periodic mass attacks on American and allied civilians is simply not an option, and we need to work together to put an end to this violence. Also, making law-abiding gun owners, or the Second Amendment, the issue in cases like this, is just a political red herring. Legislatively this week, the House passed the Defense Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2017. My wife and I are both Army veterans, and we have many friends and family members who are currently serving at home or overseas. This funding bill is necessary to keep our country safe and to take care of our soldiers and their families. This bill makes sure that they have the training and equipment they need to complete their missions, while giving them the peace of mind that their families have the support that they need at home. Included in this bill is an amendment that I introduced to provide increased assistance to military families who have a child with autism spectrum disorder. This amendment is a common sense adjustment in policy that never should have been changed in the first place. I don't believe that having a child with autism should make it harder to serve in the military. We need to make sure that our service members and veterans have the tools to raise their families and give back to them a small fraction of what they have sacrificed for our country. And finally, this week, the House Appropriations Committee, on which I sit, marked up its annual Interior and Environmental Appropriations Bill. This bill funds countless infrastructure projects that are critical to keeping Florida beautiful and maintaining our state's economic growth. I was able to secure $26.7 million from the National Estuary Program, which provides support for 3 estuaries in South Florida, including Charlotte Harbor, the Indian River Lagoon, and Tampa Bay. This bill also continues to push against the EPA's Waters of the U.S. rule, which is a classic example of harmful federal government overreach that would cost Florida farmers and local governments billions of dollars. It also holds the EPA staffing levels at their lowest since 1989. So I'm hopeful that when this bill comes to the floor, my colleagues on both sides of the aisle can put politics aside and come together in support of it. That's all I have for you today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this message. I hope that you and your family have a great, safe, and lovely weekend.